Welcome back to the YouTube. Today we've got Elisse on. Elisse is one of our clients. Launched her online business, done very well in the first 4 months. And what I want to speak about, because you're not our like typical client. Most of our clients are a little bit younger with less responsibilities.
Yeah.
Not to like point out your age or anything. It's just that they're a lot younger than me as well. But obviously you had Everly 7 months before you started. So you joined the program with a 7-month-year-old, maybe 6.
6 months, I think. Just over 6
month-year-old
months.
child. And probably went on one of the most intensive business programs that they have.
Yeah, don't do things in halves.
How did you find that process like? What was that like? At first, especially like when you first started doing it. Was it even that bad, right? Because you'd come from really busy PT work.
Yeah.
So what was it like babying online?
Different because where you're selfish when you're just PTing. You can't be selfish when you've got a baby. Like Everly is everything.
Yeah.
I don't think you realise until you have kids how profound that need to like look after them and love them is. So that then trying to manage a business was stressful because you're dealing with mum guilt as well as trying to make, and what I said before, like my personality is very much like go, go, go. So I had to make this work. So overwhelming to say the least, hair pulling, but worth it in the long run.
Yeah.
But stressful, I would say. How
do you manage your day then? Because I'm assuming that we hear a lot of it, right? We hear a lot of people come to us and they're like, I'm not saying that anyone's like got it easier or harder, right? But we have mums come to us and they're like, I want to launch online. And then we're like, this is what it's going to take. They're like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. Like I've not got childcare, or I've not got this, I've not got that. So like, how have you managed to make it work? Because you've done a very good job of it.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have childcare. And I think it was just, I was relentless with it. Like I wouldn't sit here and tell anyone that it's easy. Would I say that it's worth it? 100%. But it was hard work. I had to put in certain structures. I say structures very, very loosely because I understand for any mums listening that having a structure is incredibly hard work. But I would do things in terms of, I would get up in the morning and I would time map. But like anyone that says to me they don't have time, you do have time. You 100% have time, but you need to actually sit and schedule and map out your time, which is something that I now do with all my clients, which is obviously in hand helped because I actually now completely understand what that's like. But have some form of loose structure throughout your day and manage your expectations. Like there's only so many things you can get done in a day. So focus on the things that actually need doing.
Yeah. So what does a typical day look like for you now then?
Get up. I do all my online check-ins before Everly gets up. I am very lucky that Everly's a bit backwards. She goes to sleep at like 9 o'clock at night, but then wakes up at 9 o'clock in the morning, which is great for me. So I can get up at 6 a.m, do all my online check-ins, do a bit of lead work. And then obviously when she gets up, I can just have that selfish time with her completely. When Jordan comes back from the gym, I will then try and get any form of training in for me. Just make sure that I'm obviously online with the girls throughout the day. And then again, nighttime comes, just make sure that Everly's had her time between all of her naps, then do my last check-ins of the day, go to sleep.
So do you kind of work when she naps then in the middle of the day and you have two like solid points of like work in the morning and work in the evening?
Yeah. And then whenever she naps there, my window's opportunity to like, okay, who's messaged me back? Is there something that they need quick fire? And then what can I reply later to? That's something that I've also had to learn, that I'm a very reactive coach.
Right, okay, yeah.
Whereas sometimes I need to just pull it back and be like, this can be answered later. Don't worry about it for a minute. Concentrate on what you've got going on. That's something that I've definitely had to learn throughout this process.
So what are the tricks then you've used with like managing stuff like that and, you know, being somebody that wants to deliver a really, really good level of coaching, but also then as a child that doesn't give a shit about the level of coaching that your clients are getting because you don't even know what's going on. So like what are the big kind of things that you put into the business, or you maybe skills that you had to learn yourself in order to allow that all to kind of work together?
Definitely getting speedier with lead gen.
Yeah.
So how to just fire off messages, but I'm lucky that I'm quite a people person, so I can get a gauge of someone and understand like how to start a conversation. That's fine. But I think not overwhelming myself with that. So just getting out as many as I could in that time and knowing that even that a little amount is an amount.
Yeah.
So just making sure that you actually do the things that you need to do. Lead gen was a big one for me. Putting myself out there with content that has to be done, and also in getting heavily involved in the content. She is me. She is my life. I'm not going to separate that. So she is part of the business now. That's just how it is.
I mean, you work with mums anyway, right? So
yeah, a lot of mums.
It lends itself.
Yeah, a lot of mums and a lot of busy, like a lot of nurses and midwives I tend to work with it as well a lot. But busy women, basically, that I understand. And I think it's helped me by me having to sort of, again, schedule that day and realise my expectations of what I'm going to do in that day. I can then help women do the same. So again, you do have time. You just need to manage it better. Like I could sit here and say that I don't have time to do lead gen. It has to happen. So I have to find the time to do it.
No, it's really... And then as a business owner, then what are some things that... Obviously, you've always got this toss-up between family and business success. And a lot of people sacrifice one for the other. They either sacrifice the business success and they're like, cool, I'll just keep it here and I'll make it steady and I'll spend more time with my family. Or you get the opposite of people that are like, well, I'll curtail having a family for a little bit and really focus on the business. How have you managed to kind of do both?
I am definitely a stickler for routine, which I know sounds mad coming from a mum, but I have set up boundaries basically.
Okay, what are the boundaries?
So, for example, on a Tuesday, I know that I'm going to go see my sister who's just had a baby. So that's our time. So business can't come into that. So the set days, like a Sunday past 12 o'clock, that's family time where I don't think about anything to do with business. So the girls know, get everything done before 12 o'clock. Like that's just how it is. Everything else, the lines were definitely blurred at first. So I had to figure that out, which definitely is hard. I wouldn't sit here and say that it wasn't, but I think it is setting those boundaries. So knowing, okay, well, this is important because when you're a mum, and mums will understand this, you do not get those moments back. But this business had to work in order for Everly to have the life that we wanted her to have. So you've got to find that balance. So I would, again, time map them. I actually created like a workbook basically that the girls all now use, which I use. It's called like the confidence workbook. It's something that the girls listening will know what I mean. But that has a thing on it where like you map everything that you're going to do that day. So I would just put things into schedules and make sure that those boundaries are very, very clear. Yeah.
You send that out to your clients as well?
Yeah.
That's really cool. That.
Yeah.
I've thought about doing it, but I never use one. So I reckon it would be dead hypocritical of me to send people a diary and be like, use this diary and schedule your time, where I just fucking make it up.
It's because there's loads of elements to it, I think.
Oh, no,
as
I can imagine like if you use it as well, like it's a really important part.
Always. It's because you've got to think that is the number one thing that a mum will come to me and say, I don't have time.
Yeah.
And my answer back is very short, very obvious, you do.
But then you also go a step further of like, here's something that'll actually help you do that, rather than just, if you end it at, well, you do.
No, it's a very like caring approach. Like, because I say like, I'm so passionate and care about my clients so much. It's more a case of I want them to realise that they do have the time and that maybe the time that they thought they needed to put into it isn't actually it. Like you don't need to do 7 days a week at the gym for 3 hours, swinging off every single machine. You've just got to maybe dedicate 3 hours a week or 45 minutes, 3 times a week, whatever it is. We will find the time because we'll map it out in this way. So it's working closely with them on that. But that workbook does definitely help. It helped me. That's why I gave it to them.
Imagine. What's your goals for the business then over the next 6 months?
Ooh. So I definitely want to come for the 30K mark in a month. That's what I'd like to. I'm not really, as mad as it sounds, I'm not actually very money driven. Like that's not what I'm in it for. However, it does help with the fact that we do want location freedom. So I think for us, my dream would be that we move somewhere where I can then work the business from there. But in terms of actual business, success coach who's coming on board in a week, which I'm quite nervous about, and then maybe another coach, and then see where that takes us from there.
Cool. And you're trialing Forteventura for a month?
Trialing. We've got Forteventura and we've got Villamora at the end of the year in Portugal for a month
as well?
Yeah.
So Spain, well, it's not Spain, is it? Canary Islands, Portugal.
Yeah.
Anywhere else on the list that you're going to try?
I mean, I really want to try Dubai, but Geord's not about Dubai.
Is it just the distance?
He just didn't. I've never been. So it's something that we're going to go.
You can do it very, very different ways depending on where you stay. It's like any city, like if you stay in Moston or Blakely or something like that, you're going to get a very different idea than if you stay in like Cheshire. I'll let you chew his ear off then. So there you go. Because I would like to try there. But I think for distance... It's difficult for family, I think.
Portugal was always the one, but then I didn't expect Fuerteventura to hit us the way it did. We basically found a gym there that was like sick, like very like old school, wasn't it? Like a boxing gym, and we absolutely loved it. And we just got such a good feel when we were there that we were like, could this be a contender? So,
it's not a bad position to be in, right?
No,
testing the world and see where you fancy living.
Definitely not. It's an absolutely mint feeling, mint place to be. But I like I said before, I am still figuring out about blurring those lines.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're now in a very good spot where there's a good sense of family, and I don't have to be away from my daughter. I mean, I'm living the life, really. What more could you ask for as a mum?
No.
So
I'm sure. And where can people find you if they want to see the adventures of...
So we've got
family.
Instagrams, I suppose to give Jordan's as well. We've got Coach Elisse, it's Coach_Elisse. I should have said that before. That's on TikTok as well. Jordan is Jordan_IntensiFit. And then YouTube is the Grady Langs with a hyphen in between. Grady
/ Langs.
Langs, yeah.
We'll make sure we add it in the description anyway.
Yeah, cool.
Make sure that if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification to let yourself know when we make more videos, and we'll see you next time.